Good evening. This meeting is being recorded in all mediums. Calling the meeting to order at 6:15 p.m. For the purpose of the recording, may I please get an audible roll call from the Personnel Board, starting with Vice Chair Buckner.
Present.
Board Member Front.
Present.
Chair Wizik.
Present.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda review. Any items to review on the agenda? No? Okay. Any statement of conflict of interest? Moving on to approval of minutes, starting with the regular meeting of January 25th, 2024.
I, Vice Chair Buckner, approve the minutes.
First motion from Vice Chair Buckner.
I'll second.
Okay, voting for the approval of the January 25th meeting minutes, starting with Vice Chair Buckner.
Yes.
Board Member Front.
Yes.
Chair Wizik.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of special meeting minutes of March 13, 2024.
I, Vice Chair Buckner, move to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Voting to approve the special meeting minutes of March 13, 2024, starting with Vice Chair Buckner.
Yes.
Board Member Front.
Yes.
Chair Wizik.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to 4C, approving the special meeting minutes of March 14th, 2024.
I, Vice Chair Buckner, moved to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, voting for approval of special meeting minutes of March 14th, 2024, starting with Vice Chair Buckner.
Yes.
Board Member Front.
Yes.
Chair Wizik.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to public comment. Doesn't look like we have any public comment for today. Okay. There's nothing on the consent agenda. So moving on to item 7A, approve the Community Intervention Specialist job description. We do have a comment. Hello, Ben, can you hear us? Can you hear? We can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, Personnel Board and Chair. This is Ben Terrio, the President of the Richmond Police Officers Association. The reason I'm speaking tonight on this item is we have a lot of concerns as the POA about an issue with this classification and the fact that it may take away work or be at least conflictive with some of the duties that police officers and police sergeants currently do. If you read the classification, there is a lot of similarities to what police officers currently do. And what that means is while these folks may not be carrying weapons, etc., they'll be in cars, have radios, be dispatched to calls. And then just to go back and give you a little bit of the history, after the police department was defunded, a lot of officers left the department. Our FTEs, our total number of employees, was reduced. And then shortly after this kind of brainchild started to begin, where essentially civilians would potentially take calls for service. So our issue is that we want to have at least a meet and confer, which we requested as soon as this was put forth in the public place. The city has responded, but said they're just going to meet for informational purposes, which is, their position, but quite frankly, just a ridiculous position under the MMBA. There's definitely a conflict, and our ask, our bottom line, I guess, is for the body, the first body and first position up through classifications, to wait a month until we have that meet and confer before taking action on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? No. Okay, so Human Resource Director Sharon Taylor will present the item.
Good evening, Chair Wersick and Personnel Board members. Sharon Taylor, Human Resources Director. I present to you our Community Intervention Specialist job description. As I shared with you in previous meetings, we were given the charge by the City Council to create the Community Crisis Response Program. And this classification will serve as the boots on the ground position. They will directly interact with our residents, providing services, referrals, facilitate handoffs into other type of intervention type programs, mainly focused on low-level incidents such as serving the unhoused, maybe some mental health interventions, things of that sort. We have heard our POA, we have responded to their request to meet and confer, and we are definitely going to meet and confer with all impacted unions, including impact bargaining as required, especially since this position will possibly have to interact with our community, with our communications dispatch center in order to take calls. Those things are still being fleshed out. We do not plan on implementing the program until around August, and that is the best case scenario, but we will definitely allow time for us to engage in the process as required by the MMBA and to ensure that all issues regarding the implementation of this program and any associated classifications are addressed in a proper manner. I do have our Deputy City Manager, LaShonda White, on the call, who is also available to answer any additional questions that you may have. She can also expound on the vision for the program and what we see this position actually performing the duties that we plan on having this position perform.
I have a question. So just to confirm, so you will meet and confer with the police union?
So the police union, our chief negotiator has communicated with their attorney and stated that we will have a conversation. We'll also engage in impact bargaining. So meet and confer and impact bargaining are similar, but they're not the same. We met and conferred with the union that this classification is associated with, which is SEIU 1021, and they do support the classification. They gave us some feedback. We incorporated their suggestions, and they gave us their blessing. The impact bargaining will come into play, as been stated, how it will impact the communications dispatcher, how it will impact the current duties that police officers are doing. And so we will have those conversations as we go through the implementation process of the program.
And for clarity, Vice Chair Buckner, so boots on the ground means that these people in the community intervention specialists are the first to approach a crisis situation?
It depends on the level of the crisis, but they will be roaming the city, so to speak, going to hotspots where they feel that their services are needed. I envision them to particularly deal with our unhoused, making sure that they have the services that they need so that they aren't on the streets, so to speak. But there may be some conflict mediation services that they may offer and other low-level services, but by no means is this position being put in place to take away from our police officers or our public safety. It is meant to enhance and support. And again, it would be only instances in which these people are qualified to deal with.
Absolutely. And then therefore, if they got to a situation that escalated beyond their capabilities, then we would have the backup of our police department to ensure the safety of the individual that's performing their duties.
Most definitely.
And then they will be in a company-issued vehicle, city-issued vehicle to make these rounds. And is there a time of day, or is it just random, whatever time you feel the need is greatest?
I believe that the intention is to roll out the program slowly. Most of the programs, we do have programs similar to the one that we're trying to establish here in the city and some of our surrounding cities, such as Oakland and San Francisco. It is my understanding that those are 24-hour operations. We are realistic in knowing that we can't launch that quickly, but that is probably a long-term goal at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Worsig has a question on the qualifications. I was reading it over, and wouldn't it be useful to have Spanish speakers as well?
We definitely will recruit to invite people who that are multilingual. However, we can't put that in our job description as a requirement. It can be considered bias almost if we request a certain language in the actual job description. However, when we do the recruitment, we will be searching for multilingual individuals as a preferred skill if they have it.
There are some other skills that are listed as highly desirable as opposed to like a minimum requirement, but I saw that they're listed in the minimum requirements. Is there, is that like a standard way of doing it? It just seems like they should maybe be broken out into a different section. So such as like personal or familial lived experience with alcohol or other substance abuse, or the former or current Richmond resident being highly desirable. And then I feel like maybe like the language or like multilingual desirability could be something else that's listed in like maybe a separate section. I don't know. Is it standard to list those under minimum qualifications?
It is, as far as the template of our job descriptions. We don't have a separate section for highly desirable, so we place it under there, and in our job announcement, it also falls under that section as well. We haven't really explored a different way of pretty much defining qualifications that are highly desirable, almost like an enhancement to the base minimum qualifications, but not required for the job. So we can certainly add multilingual would be a highly desirable versus a minimum qualification, which should stay within the guidelines of other comparable classifications.
One more question, and I see the minimum of the 2 years or experience or outreach or advocate experience, and then we go down to accredited coursework or degree in social services. So that kind of a broad range. So if we look at a candidate that has 2 years of experience, how do we continue to enhance their training? Are they required every 6 months, or once a year they have to do a specific course or something to that degree so that they are valuable to the city as well as to the clients that they're interacting with?
This is something that we have discussed with our ONS director that will eventually be overseeing the program. We do plan on developing a very rigorous training program for everyone that will be participating in the community crisis response. Again, we will not be putting anyone out on the street that isn't skilled or qualified to be handling the incidents that we're requesting of them to handle. And with that will come continuous training as well.
Thank you.
So I would just recommend then, I guess, more formally that the requirement or non-requirement, the desirability of multilingual be a multilingual person be added to the minimum qualifications section.
Certainly, we will make that addition.
And then I had one more question just regarding Mr. Terrio's comment. So just so I understand correctly, so is he suggesting that the city meet and confer with the police union before we approve this?
Yes, that is his request.
And so what would be the impact of potentially delaying this and recommending that happens?
I can't really say what the impact would be. I do know that we are on a timeline as far as what the city council's expectations are, as far as the output for this program. We are in the process of recruiting for a program manager, so we were hoping that once the program manager is in place, we can start to implement the key parts of the program, because that person, hopefully, which, you know, we have some very highly qualified candidates, will have the experience and the foundation in order to build the program from the ground up. So we kind of wanted to have some things in place. The recruitment is in progress. We are in the latter part of the recruitment at this point, so the timing is very important to make sure that things are moving along. The next phase would be for me to bring another job description before you for the mental health clinician, which will be another aspect of the program. And then again, we'll need to engage in the meet and confer and impact bargaining regarding the additional classifications as well as the whole implementation of the program. We'll have the program manager there to assist us in that process, as well as the DCM and the ONS director.
Okay, so this is like the foundational role. If this is delayed, then it kind of delays every other step down the line.
That is what has been conveyed to me by the leadership.
Got it.
And when is the meeting or the discussion with the union supposed to take place? I didn't remember the date on that.
We don't have a particular date. Our chief negotiator has responded to the POA attorney, and as far as I know, at this point, that just occurred this week, so we haven't figured out any dates. But all of the unions, all of the affected unions are on notice that we will be engaging in the process.
Okay, thank you.
Well, then I'll move to approve this
With the multilingual edition.
with the multilingual edition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Warsick seconds.
Vice Chair Buckner, agree.
Okay, taking a vote to approve the community intervention specialist job description, starting with Vice Chair Buckner,
Yes.
Board Member Front,
Yes.
Chair Wizik.
Yes.
Okay, the job description has been approved. Moving on to item 8, there is no unfinished or old business. There is no review and/or issuance of subpoenas. Item 10, there is no consideration of problems and reports. So move to adjourn at 6:33 p.m.
I, Vice Chair Buckner, move that we adjourn the meeting at 6:33 p.m.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.